Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fantasy Fireside. It's been a little while. I think the last episode we talked about Grand Cafe, but we've got something a bit different now. Due to popular demand in the comments, we've had some people suggesting various factions. But Colin, what are we? I believe this is possibly the single most requested one. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about the Wood Elves, and you better believe I was surprised that elves were the most requested thing. That doesn't normally happen.
We love elves. Good on you, elves. They definitely seem to have a contrasting perception compared to 40k. 40k people are like, ugh. And the fancy is like, oh, elves. I love Iden F. Deepkin and the other ones. Like there's elves in the sea, there's elves in the cities, and today we're talking about the living trees. Amazing.
It's crazy. When the writers don't treat you with contempt, the audience is more receptive. Who would have guessed?
Nice. Well, I must admit, wood elves are quite they're quite like a regular thing in settings like fantasy settings. You got them in things like Dragon Age, you got them in obviously like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. There's the ones that live in like the woods rather than the cities. So what is there like a specific thing that defines them differently in Warhammer Fantasy, or are they just kind of following the tried and true, like, it's a wood elf, isn't it? They have bows and arrows. They like squirrels, I guess.
It does in a lot of ways follow the tried and true method of this is a Wood Elf. That being said, they encroach a little bit into both Elder Scrolls territory because they'll happily eat you.
We know your opinion on in the Elder Scrolls.
It's okay. These aren't murders. These are different. It's fine.
Okay.
And a little bit of eldritch horror stuff because the forest they live in is, it's not the warp, but it is terrifying and warps reality around it. So, it's not. Wood elves, if they were completely insane and lived in a very green hell, is not the worst way to look at them.
Okay. Just not quite malevolent. Is it basically just like mini Katachan, which is like everything will kill you if you go in, apart from the elves, they're fine because they've got like an understanding of nature.
It's like what is it? Lustria's like Katakan, kinda, because I think Lustria is close because Lustria is all just like a jungle too. The Wood Elves kind of live kind of like Katakan too, but if like Katakan was intersecting with the warp,
okay,
there are better places to live. There are also much worse places to live because if the forest likes you, it's not too bad, but it probably doesn't like you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm intrigued to learn more. So where are we taking things to start with today?
Well, we're going to start with a little bit of prehistory again.
Okay.
So old ones come to the planet. I think we've discussed this a bit before. They start mucking about with it. Tell the Lizardmen, hey, there's a lot of never before seen fantasy races on it. If you could handle that, and they did. And it's never quite confirmed, but they might have also popped down a very big acorn for a tree called the Oak of Ages that would turn the surrounding forest into a really, at the time, much nicer magical forest than it would become. At this point in time, it's a forest, so it takes plenty of time to grow, but it's much closer to what is the forest from Lord of the Rings, where they all live in, where it's a wonderful magical forest, and Galadriel. Well, there's no Galadriel there yet, but there's very kind trees. Treebeard is here, and he's still very nice.
I like the forest. It's full of trees.
Yeah.
I'm the same voice actor as Gimli. Hello, said Treebeard.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Oh, that's cool. But yeah, the last march of the Ents has not occurred yet, so they're still very, very happy, kind tree folk.
No gunpowder is getting involved yet.
No, not yet. and this great tree that would grow, called the Oak of Ages, its roots were called the world roots because they're pretty much across the entire planet. They went to Ulthuan, which is them reaching up through the ocean, because Ulthuan doesn't connect to the ground. They were across pretty much everywhere in the planet. They weren't, the entire planet, but if you wandered around, every continent, every future country a bit, you'd find some bits of it. One of those, that world route that led to Ulthuan, is in the place called Averlorn, which is where the Ever-Queen of the Elves lives, who is part the goddess Isha, and the tree spirits would travel there every now and again. The elves were, this is the prehistory, the setting. They're very innocent. They don't know we live in a Warhammer world yet, to put it that way. So they saw Treebeard come walking through, and they're like, I love Treebeard. He's my friendly oak grandpa.
He's like the Deku tree from Zelda. Like, oh, yeah. Link, I'm just a big tree. Oh, couldn't hurt anything. Oh.
Yeah, they're just kind fellas. All the other spirits were still, nice and kind and cheerful and playful. One of them in particular, named Durthu, who has a different moniker in Total War, which we'll get to later. He was really fond of the High Elves, and the Ever Queen in particular. Him and his tree brothers and sisters taught him how to, shape the wood without cutting it down, all that classical Wood Elf forest hippie stuff. Still not Wood Elves. This was more just a cultural exchange, right? Because they weren't allowed to go back to the main forest. But the tree spirits, they didn't really need to go to the forest. The elves were perfectly happy where they were. They were happy to make their homeland that much more beautiful and vibrant. The tree spirits, it's mentioned they wanted those trees to wake up too, because they woke up and now they could walk around, and they want the other trees to as well.
Never want more friends.
Exactly. They're like, they want to spread the gift with the world. And then demons happened.
Oh,
as tends to happen in Warhammer. So those two great polar gates the old ones used exploded. Chaos swept across the world, and it was awful for everyone. The TLDR for it again. The elves, the Lizardmen were busy fighting the war in the webway, basically.
Oh. Okay.
Except they didn't have guns or anything. They just had obsidian clubs. It's I'll
doing the best they can.
I'll give the Saurus credit. Some of them are basically lizard custodies, but that war was too much for the custodies, and it was too much for them too. So it's going rough. The elves are even worse off because they have armies, but it's an army that was never used. It was just a thing to do, because why would you? They lived in the Garden of Eden. What do you need an army for? Turns out when 4 different Satans invade, it's good to have that army, but it wasn't much.
It's just like their experience before them was doing like the towel flick in the gym, like, oh, stop it. And then it's like, Satan, oh no. We actually have to use these swords that we have. Oh, how do you stab them? Which edge bit do you use?
I think the pointy bit. The greatest high elf commanders are the ones who do like the bottle flipping trick where it lands on its on the bottom 3 times in a row. You do that, you can lead.
You are now in charge of the artillery. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes. Clearly he's like got the credentials.
Yeah. So eventually, the tide turns. That Anarian fella, the greatest high elf, pulls the Sword of Cain, goes to town, starts fighting everything off. Lord Croak kills like half of all demons ever on his own.
Wow.
There's no specific numbers given. I just know that time stopped, not because he stopped time, but because reality had the YouTube buffering symbol on it. He was casting so much magic.
Time literally just as bystander watching goes, guys, check this out. Whoa. I'm just going to slow it down because it's that cool. And I'm just an effervescent idea. Wow. Even time was impressed.
I love my elves. This is an elf episode, but I got to be fair to Lord Croak. He's a real one. The elves fought one infinite demon army. You know, that's pretty impressive. The Lizardmen fought infinite demon armies, so you know they definitely had the brunt of the work. But you know, the elves have an Ariel now. He's chopping demons left, right, center, wherever he goes. And this province of Averloren, where the tree forest likes to go, they had largely been untouched. Interestingly, in part because the demons sensed the forest spirits were not all that dissimilar from themselves, and they didn't want to muscle in on their territory when there was easier options available. That is a worrying statement, and should be a worrying statement. But if they're tree demons, they're still nicer than the corn demons or the Slanesh demons. So
at least they're not on fire or doing unseemly things to each other's orifices. Pick evil tree any day.
they're quite opposed to fire, I would say.
Yeah, seems like a hazard.
But they're demons of chaos. They're not going to hold back forever. And one day, while Anarian's all army was way away from Averlorn, because he's got to defend the whole continent, the largest demonic host yet seen on Ulthuan descended upon the place of Averlorn, and they just started going to town. Durthu and the rest of the tree spirits, they helped fight alongside their allies. They had their home, but they didn't want to just leave their friends out to dry. Still a losing battle. Forever, they're demons. They're technically infinite, and even if not functionally a lot of the time, there's still a lot. So they just kept pushing further and further into the Heartlands until the last day of Averlorn being a thing for the time being, before they could rebuild it, where the Everqueen of the Elves, named Ariel, who, as an off mention, is Anarian's wife, but that's not too relevant to the story at hand.
Okay.
Came to Durthu with a request, and this was a sad one, because her request was just that her 2 children be taken with him back to the Great Forest and the Oak of Ages, so they don't die.
Oh, okay.
He thought about it, because like sapient things had never been in the forest before. Like, there's all the forest. There's plenty of deer. There's some squirrels and critters like that. No people. And he didn't feel his other tree friends would be too happy with him bringing them back. But again, the trees are still Treebeard. They're still nice, and they don't want to leave their friends out to dry. And more importantly, he kind of, I don't know if he outright looked into the future, but he thought long and hard for as much time as he had. He saw how, when the elves and the trees were fighting together, they were a lot more effective than they would be alone. So he foresaw a time where that might help save his forest. So he agreed. He said, there's going to be a price to pay, because if I do this, I'm going to take some elves of my own. Not kill, he didn't mean kill, but it's like, hey, these are the forest guardians now. You can't have them back on your island. The Everqueen, she was thinking this over too, especially because Durthu's tone, he had that tone of, it's Christopher Lee's giving you a prophecy. It's like when, what is it? Episode 2, when he's telling Obi-Wan, the Sith control everything, and Obi-Wan just doesn't believe him. He's got that tone in his mouth, so the Everqueen's a little bit more receptive than Ewan McGregor. But whether or not she would have said no, she didn't have much time to think on it and make her own choice, because just about that moment, Nakari burst through. The Keeper of Secrets.
Oh.
Killed the rest of her bodyguard at once, and then she basically said, okay, that's fine, I do it, just let my kids live. So she gave Durthu her 2 kids, and went to go fight Nakari with what little magic she had. Spoiler alert, she did not make it.
Oh, poor lady.
Her 2 kids did, though. But unfortunately for Anarian, he didn't know that. And by the time his 2 kids returned, one to become the Ever Queen and one to become her bodyguard. Anarian had gone long insane, grabbed Kane's sword, started killing demons, disappeared, all that fun stuff. But for the time being, we got to jump ahead a little bit because that's a high elves thing. We're not quite there yet.
And to be fair to Anarian, what's more likely? My wife died and the kids died too, or big tree took my children.
Yeah, I can't blame the guy for not expecting Treebeard to come rescue his children. That's more than fair to make some assumptions about that. But back at Athel Loren, there was some fighting over, do we allow them? I'm not a fan of this. I don't necessarily want to kill them, but I kind of want them just thrown out. One of the tree lords wanted them killed. His name's Coadil, and he is not a very nice tree man. But
bad tree.
Yeah, but it was eventually Durth who convinced all the other big trees, and that, look, let's just magically keep them asleep. They won't see anything, and then we'll send them back home, which they did. In the meantime, the Great Forest was not doing much better than Ulthuan was, or anywhere else in the world was doing. Demons everywhere, remember? But by the time Durthu got back home, he noticed that the trees had changed a bit. Treebeard is still, all the different Treebeards are still around. All the little dryad forest spirits are all around. They're a lot angrier than they were before, though. Before, again, it's an Ent, right? Like, Lord of the Rings. The Ents aren't angry. They're not warlike, but it's a moving tree. It's going to punt you into the stratosphere if it so feels. They're not Ents anymore. Now they are quite upset at the outside world for the demon invasion they've been suffering for all this time.
They were happy and peaceful, and all of a sudden and that's not our fault because we didn't do anything, and now we've lost a bunch of allotments and flowers. You are all enemies of the state, the tree state.
Yeah. So they'd started regaining a bit of ground lost to the demons, at again the price of their kind, wondrous, happy nature had been replaced with, I sure want to be watered with the blood of the living.
My word.
So a little rough. But the demons were eventually put back. Anarian and Kalidor set up the vortex. The lizardmen finally got to sleep after fighting 10 to the power of infinity demons for the last couple thousands of years. The trees can rest too, and hopefully could become a little bit less psychopathic. For the time being, the Wood Elves and the trees wouldn't really speak to each other again for a bit. They didn't visit their home of Ulthuan anymore because they had their own force to rebuild. All the old contact and secrets the trees taught the elves kind of lost to time. Shame, but it is what it is. So again, it was another good while before they ever interacted again. The High Elves, for their part, colonized a lot of the old world, the lands that would become Bretonia, the Empire. Malekith and his mom did the funny thing and tried to take control of Ulthuan before they got told to piss off. And friendships were made with the dwarfs. Things were good for a while. Then things weren't good. The dwarfs and high elves go to war because Malekith is awful. And those slightly jumping ahead. No one won the war. No one really won that war. The dwarfs like to say they won, and to be fair, they did kill the king.
Just like the idea is like, who lost more? Not me. You lost more than I lost.
They did kill the king, and the high elves had to retreat back home. Certain point, it just doesn't matter. When you lose 10 million dwarfs, it's kind of doesn't really matter. You won. Would you like your consolation prize? It's your home covered in orcs and goblins now.
Not great.
But with this, Malekith once again invaded Ulthuan. He does that every 5 minutes. And all those elven colonists were recalled home back to Ulthuan. The high elves were just like, now they are the high elves. Dark elves and high elves are separated. They were like, we're done. Clearly, we have our hands full just with our own home continent. We don't need to be reaching out for more. The dwarfs now hate us. To the east is dwarfs. To the west is dark elves. Let's just all go home because this planet sucks. Some of them, some of the colonists went home. A lot of them told them to piss off. And during this time, some of them had been not going into the Great Forest because when they did, they saw strange lights, heard singing, the paths would shape around them, and then anyone who made it far enough just wouldn't come back out. But they were, for some reason, something in their blood was just saying it's going to be important one day. Something about that forest. I want to know what's going on there. And they named it Athel Loren, which translates to Wood of the Dawning of the World, which is a lot of word to come out of 2 words. But I'm never going to call it that again. So, but yeah, they settled on the outskirts. And when the dwarfs, the war happened, the colonists were called home. A lot of them just kind of hung around here. Eventually, the dwarfs kind of had to work out their hurt feelings in that war, and they decided to work it out on those remaining high elven colonists.
As you do. Dwarves going, I don't know how to process my emotions. Where's my axe? Yeah, sounds like a dwarf thing to do.
Yeah, they looked, it was like, you are an elf. We were just done fighting elves. Come here, knife ear. And yeah, they started swinging. There's no 2 ways about it. But for once, now the forest opened up for the high elves, and let them in.
Why?
Who knows?
Just like we've had some experiences with the elves, but those short fellas, I don't like the look of those fellas coming over here killing these elves. Oh, they didn't do anything, and we didn't do anything when we were attacked. So maybe they were like,
Not helping is that winter was also coming by this point, and the trees, they're trees. They get a little bit more lethargic in winter. All the leaves fall off. It's like that for the tree spirits too. They're slower, they're more sluggish. Trees need firewood in the winter, don't they? So the trees weren't much a fan of that. The trees were also going after the elves, so the forest was like, they hate both of us. Come on in. Come on in.
So at this point, the dwarves have been, we need to build stuff. Let's cut down some trees for the industrial war machine.
Yeah, cut down some trees.
Slowly chip away at them.
Yeah, cut down some trees, make some, impromptu buildings, and then cut down some elves too.
Why not?
Yeah. So with this, eventually, the elves and the tree spirits started working together a little bit. They started, as they once did against demons, so too they did against dwarfs. The forest would open up. Some elves would rush out, shoot the dwarfs with their bows, rush back in. When the dwarfs tried and give chase, the trees would come to life and cut them into pieces. It was some pretty good teamwork. Also, some of that mystical eldritch forest thing came into play here, because suddenly the elves would walk out, they'd walk back into the trees, and 5 minutes later they're 10 miles away. So that's something's going on there. Sometimes the forest would just kind of close, the branches just kind of.
And to be fair, I'm assuming that the height advantage of, like, have you ever seen a dwarf climb a tree? Doubt it.
It's not
there must have been like a lot of archers on the top branches, and the dwarves are going, where's that coming from? Like craning their necks, trying to see where they're being shot from. Bad times, I would assume.
I imagine it's like a dog trying to look straight up. It's just like, it's not going to work very well, man.
Getting stuck in mud and like maybe some swamplands or something, just like, we've got with these heavily armored fellas just marching in. You got these very light-footed elves running along the tree branches. It's kind of a again, that's that scene in Lord of the Rings where it's Gimli walking through, and there's like, the dwarf made so much noise we could have shot him in the dark. Like, yeah, elves do well in trees, dwarves not so much.
Yeah. So all through this time, eventually the dwarves are driven back, and the forest seemed to let the elves stay this time. They could even go in a little bit deeper than before, which the elves, they didn't know why. Off to the sidelines, Durthu and his two main tree buddies, that Coedal guy and one named where did I put his name down? Shit, give me a minute. Adonhu. There we go. He's not too important. He's kind of comes up every now and again now, but not for long.
Adonhu, more like Adonhu.
Nah. But they were arguing over the fate of the elves. Adonhu, he was like, well, hey, they helped us out. They seem pretty good, keeping the forest safe. Why don't we keep them around? And that Coedal fella was arguing for the elf death way of things. Durthu, for his part, just wasn't saying anything. He didn't trust his judgment anymore. Treebeard was also gravely wounded by dwarf axes. Ooh. So he got a little bit more violent too, and he didn't quite trust his own judgment anymore, which props for him for recognizing he might be a bit compromised emotionally.
He was getting a bit sappy. Get the pun. Da-da-da.
I do. But but eventually the forest opened up like most of its secrets to it. Even not totally yet. The dryads and the treemen, and the bigger treemen still not revealing themselves to the elves yet. They've kind of been helping off to the sidelines for now. But, the elves, they're allowed to hang around their house, even if they never quite see the owner. Fair enough. They treat the forest very well. They speak with the actual forest. When they got to the center of it, saw the giant Oak of Ages, which by this point, breaching the clouds. Their mages started speaking with the will of the forest in unison, which is at least a little bit terrifying. And their head mage, Ariel, who's very important, taught them how to, tree sing, do that thing where they shape, items out of trees and cut off branches and grow new wood without breaking it. The Wood Elf hippie stuff.
Bit like bone singing, but more natural, I suppose. I wonder where they got that from. Who did it first? 40k or Warhammer with singing things into weapons and stuff? I wonder.
One of them did, surely. Then, they did take good care of the forest. They wouldn't take from it without giving back equally, either through some kind of sacrifice, which doesn't necessarily need to be murder sacrifice. It could be, just hunting maybe, but some they give in return, or it's at the very least service. It's like, all right, I needed to make my house out of this wood, so now I'm gonna, spend a couple shifts at night making sure that no beavers or nothing try and cut down this tree.
It's free labor, said the Ents. Amazing.
Pretty much. They would only take in the winter, fallen branches. They'd heal any trees that were, hurting. They were doing good. And waste not, want not. Every bit of the animal goes towards making something. They're good. They're good little tree guardians. Once again, the dwarfs march upon the forest later on.
And then the dwarves went, I hate trees, and started Book of Grudges, chapter 15. Yeah. Hate trees. Trees bad. Trees hurt me. Hate trees.
There are absolutely several dozen entries in the book after the last time. So at this point, and now they're especially prepared. They know this forest is alive, so the torches are bright and the axes are sharp. So the elves, the forest spirits speak on what to do. what is it? The elves are figuring out, all right, how do we defend? What consult the gods, do the future, do everything we can, do all the magical stuff. How do we handle this? Two of them, Ariel, the one I just briefly mentioned, and one guy named Lord Orion, quietly off to the side, were deep in conversation, and they just kind of quietly slipped away. For the rest of the Wood Elves, they're like half Wood Elves now. They were not pleased with what they were coming together with. They felt that not only could they not defeat the dwarfs, but their seers had determined that the dwarfs are not even the greatest threat because there's a whole lot of orcs behind them that they don't know about.
No. Oh no! Just wave upon wave of people who hate nature. Just like, oh no! I'm assuming there must be a point where the dwarves get pincered between the two. That would be bad. Like, you don't want the orcs following you. That sounds like a bad plan.
It's not great, but they didn't seem to quite be like aware, and it was more so like behind because there's so many orcs that they just kind of stretched out a little bit to intersect with the dwarfs invasion path.
Yeah, just like the equivalent of a raiding party of orcs, and it's just like 1% of this gigantic mass that's terrorizing somewhere else on the planet.
Yeah, and it's orcs. They're everywhere in Warhammer. It's like some orcs raiding your army is, I assume that's just kind of expected. Like that's just an assumption you make when you're out in campaign.
Yeah.
In this, as this is happening, the tree spirits finally reveal themselves to the elves. They say that Adanhu, he comes back out and he says, "We will fight alongside you as long as the battle's before winter. We're not very active in winter. We biologically can't be. We got to huddle up and hibernate."
That's when all the bears just like, "No, I can't, mate. Sorry. Oh, I'm so tired. Sorry, I can't fight anymore." Said the bears and the trees and everything. Makes sense though.
Yeah. So with this, Orion and Ariel aren't quite back yet, but the trees and the elves are now working together properly, and the dwarfs, they're pretty handily defeated. It's not a bloodless victory. Elves and trees alike are scarred, but both elf and dwarf had some payback to get. So they took to this fight with gusto. Unfortunately, winter seemed to have come early this year, and in a almost prophetic sense, last dwarf goes down, the icy winds start blowing through, and the trees said they got to go to bed.
Nap time, said the trees.
So with that, the trees have to go hibernate, and now the orcs are here. And orcs still get cold. They're certainly more resistant than most people, but orcs still get cold. They're surrounded by a whole lot of forests that they just start cutting down and lighting on fire. Sometimes, you ever play Don't Starve? You know that game?
I know it, but I've not played it, but I remember when it was really popular and I used to see lots of gameplay of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming they did what you can do in that game, and they go to light one tree to keep it warm, and then a forest fire starts. Except in that game, it can be a little bit like accidental. It's like, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sure the orcs were perfectly happy with it.
Yeah, happy accident. They're like, well, to be honest, I don't care. It's not that they had any reason not to make more fire, because more fire mean more warm. That sounds like a good idea.
Exactly. More fire mean more warm. The elves prepare to fight and die in front of the Oak of Ages, because this was going on slowly but surely over the winter. They're fighting a losing battle. And then at dawn one day, the forest transforms en masse. It seems like just as quick as it came, winter's over. And they hear the horn of their god of the hunt echoing throughout the woods. The animals are all rised from hibernation at once. And yeah, their god Kurnos is suddenly on the field. No tricks. It's just their god.
Oh, God's turned up. Don't worry. Happens.
Yeah.
Happens occasionally.
With his hunting hounds at his heels. And, that renews the elves, because if there's anything that's going to give you a second wind, it would probably be God showing up to fight alongside you. I imagine that would bolster spirits. He blew his horn a second time, and he and the hounds crash into the orc lines. And the elves join in the fray. The tree spirits, they finally start waking up again, and they're all too happy to take revenge for all their brothers and sister trees that were burned by the orcs. And yeah, they're back, and by the time the sun sets, there's no more orcs. They're gone.
Is it fair to say that they're at their strongest during spring? Because that's like seasonally, that's like, when everything blooms again. And then, like you've gone from worst possible to best possible character stats.
Yes, spring comes and they're at their strongest. They're still doing plenty strong in summer. Fall comes around, everyone knows nap time's coming. Winter is nap time.
Yeah. Also, I came up with a brilliant pun during the winter bit. You could call it, "Now is the winter of our discont ent."
It's
so
a pun
clever.
episode. Little did anyone know, including me.
Neither did I. They're just happening in my brain.
But Orion and Ariel had left to become avatars of the god Kurnos and the goddess Isha.
Oh.
Yeah. So now the Wood Elves are, they're around now. It's like they're properly the Wood Elves now. Like the tree spirits have formed, friendships with them. Everything else is it's they're good buddies now. They're hanging out now. Not every tree is the biggest fan of them, I will admit. Coadil would still quite like to see a lot of dead elves, to the point that at one point he went a little bit insane, started killing elves, and they had to lock him away in a part of the forest that might be slightly chaos corrupted.
Oh.
Which
I'm sure that won't be a problem.
It's good.
Got this bit of chaos in the middle of the. Just ignore it. It won't grow.
It's good for keeping him out of the picture. It's definitely not great for his long-term health.
Yeah.
Or sanity. There's a couple big threats that the Wood Elves would eventually have to deal with. For one, a small one. Mankind is a thing now. The empires of elf and dwarf kind of fallen away. There's people kind of encroaching on Athel Loren, which the Empire doesn't really do it too much. There's a mountain range in between the forest and them, so the Empire, they're cutting down trees, but not the sacred magical trees, right?
Yeah, they're not as bad as orcs and dwarves, who are like the most industrious faction ever, who likes to create stuff all the time and need a lot of firewood, or the ones who cut down trees and burn them because more warm, more good, or just for fun, so that someone will come and attack them so they can have a fight. Like, that's the competition. Not great.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but there are worse alternatives. For the most part, but the ones who didn't really ignore the forest the ones who were living on the side of the mountains with the forest were those good old Bretonians.
I was wondering when they were going to get into the picture. I was like, where are the French? They've got to be around here somewhere.
According to the Wood Elves, as they saw it, and I have to say, I don't disagree with this view. They were superstitious, stupid, ignorant barbarians. Who did largely avoid these places, because as far as they were concerned, that forest is haunted. And the Wood Elves mostly just kind of watched this happen, There were still orcs and goblins all over the place. So every now and then, green skinned man would fight, and the Wood Elves would just kind of stare at it like, that's funny.
Just get their telescopes out and just look at that stupid peasant. Oh, he's fighting an orc. Look at this, Kevin.
Get some ethically made popcorn. Watch the fighting. Whenever the fighting got a little bit too close, they would just kind of sweep in and slaughter both sides. Not helping mankind's view that place is super haunted.
Yeah.
And this incidentally started a tradition known as the Wild Hunt, which we'll get to later.
Oh, Witcher 3, the Wild Hunt. Great game.
It's
awesome.
It's about as peaceful as that one is. And usually has a similar body count.
Oh.
And humanity's in the end. It's not even an easy piece. It's like a stay off my lawn or I'm murdering you.
Okay.
Yeah. They're kind of assholes.
Across this line, we will kill you.
Yeah.
Get this line, we'll kill you slower.
Now's as good a time as any. The Wild Hunt basically is so that Orion guy, the avatar of the god Kurnos.
Okay.
His wife, Ariel / Isha, she's around all year. Again, in the winter, she kind of chills out a bit, but she's around all year. There's still life in the winter, right? Orion, come winter, he just steps in the tree and dies. He's gone.
Oh.
He goes into the Oak of Ages and he's out.
Wow.
Every summer, a wood elf, an important wood elf, is elected to be a sacrifice / host for Orion's spirit and the spirit of Kurnos. And he comes forth, he enters the Oak of Ages, and when he comes out, Orion is back. And then the Wild Hunt begins, which ostensibly is to clear out any nearby threats to Athel Loren. Perhaps more honestly, they just like rampaging across the land.
It's just a bit of fun. It's like, I've just woken up. I want to kill something. Like, all right, mate.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. I get reborn for the sacrifice of someone important just because I'm a big deal. Like, okay, mate, calm down.
It's again, they are technically protecting them from outsiders because the outsiders can't invade you if there are no outsiders left to invade you.
Yeah, the best deterrent is kill everyone. Then they can't make any decisions that can hurt us. Brilliant.
Yeah. The biggest problem they have is a beastman named Morgar, who usually the beastman 95% of the time exists to be murdered so that chaos can take some early losses in a story without actually losing anything.
The red shirts of Warhammer.
It is. I mean, you know me, Andy. I'm an Eldar fan. I wake up every day and thank God I'm not a Beastman fan. There's being ignored by Games Workshop, and then there's held in active contempt.
Yeah, I was gonna say the contemptuous GW. Anytime they see a Beastman, it's like, don't remind us we made these. Like, oh, come on, guys, they're kind of cool. No Beastman.
They like to not think about them if they can help it, and when they do, it's usually with hate. But yeah, there was this Beastman named Morgar. He'd probably be best saved for a Beastman dedicated episode, but Morgar, or even his own thing, because he's utterly horrifying and made it to Age of Sigmar, had his own plotline going before they were then taken out of Age of Sigmar, the entire Beastman faction. So who knows where that's going nowadays? Probably nowhere.
Could you imagine being a Beastman fan? It's like, yeah, we're so back, and then instantly everything's taken away from you. Like, why
you have to rebase your entire army again? Fuck you.
Wow.
But yeah, this Beastman, his name is Morgar, Master of Skulls. The Wood Elves just call him the Corruptor, and I'm trying to think the best way to put him. He's like a walking warp rift.
Oh, okay.
Chaos just
bad things happen in his wake, and it's not even his fault. It's like, this is just me.
Yeah, chaos just seeps out of him, and all around him, everything, including the ground, just corrupts. gets
Oh.
like fleshy and nasty and evil and gross. He's a bad egg.
Is there an equivalent in Warhammer 40k that I can think of? And I can't, other than like obviously evil characters like the Death Guard who just like plagues follow them, but just I can't think of anyone who just like chaos just seeps out of them because they were born bad and they are bad because of that. I assume he didn't choose to be bad; he just is.
He just is. Like, he's barely sapient, if he
Oh,
even is. He's just like a primordial like force of chaos.
oh. And to be fair, I bet his mum was well proud. He's like, "What's your baby called?" He's called the Master of Skulls. Oh, well, that's lovely.
I gotta be
Mm.
honest, I don't think his mum made it through childbirth.
Oh no.
In fact, I think if I'm
Uh,
remembering correctly, I'd have to double check later. I think he was born to human parents. They did not
oh,
make it very long.
oh no. Warhammer, everyone. You can
Yeah,
always find something terrible, even in the most innocuous of environments. Oh,
yeah,
lovely baby. Susan, Susan, wake up. Oh no. Oh no, he's warp spilling out of his paws. Oh, poor
yeah.
fella.
So it's bad. Wherever he goes, like no one who's seen him has like lived to report it. He's just like he gives off that many bad vibes.
He's just like a horseman of the apocalypse. He just is.
Yeah. Uh, like everyone who sees him goes insane. Again, like I said, the land around him gets corrupted. It took everyone a while to even figure out what the hell this thing is.
Hmm.
Ariel eventually figured it out, and she went to go deal with him. No mortal could deal with her, so she's like, "All right, my husband's either taking a nap or rampaging through Bretonia. He's busy.
Hmm.
I'll do it myself."
He's either killing the French or having a nap. Either way, he's not here. I'll figure it out myself.
Yeah. She goes to deal with him, and when she finds him, admittedly, it isn't really much of a fight, because as much as he's like horrid, he's like passively horrid, and especially at this point, like he's kind of just this lumpen, misshapen thing, like barely even a proper beastman. So she just kind of obliterates him. He's dead.
Oh,
He's gone.
oh,
Uh, like she was expecting like some powerful mage or some demon or something truly horrible, and she finds like a blob.
she finds a blob.
So she brings down the cleansing flame and kills it and all of the beastmen that were following him around. So
Hmm.
she just goes home. She's like, well, problem solved. Little did she know, problem not solved. Morgar can't really die.
Oh,
Not for long, anyways. So he started healing. He's completely insane, so he didn't quite understand what he was looking at. But he did understand powerful goddess thing. I would quite like to eat that.
yummy, he said.
Yeah. So, cut to about 2 centuries down the line.
Oh, okay.
There's still beastmen. There have always been some amount of beastmen in Athel Loren. There's even theories that because Athel Loren warps time, it might be the same herd of beastmen, perpetually trapped in a stage of being hunted by the Wood Elves, just at different points of existence.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so the presence of these things, it's not that big of a worry. It's really not. And when their numbers start increasing at first, it's barely even noticeable. Like one day you kill 10 beastmen, the next day you kill 11. That's not that much of a increase. That's not too worrying. Maybe one day there's a big herd, it would have been like 100. Next day it's 105. Again, acceptable variance, right? Like this is acceptable numbers for the people who traverse the magical forest. They can handle that. Then 11 becomes 12. 105 becomes 110. Still not quite taking note of it. Slowly, though, there's more and more beastmen every time. And now Morgar is here, and that's a lot of thousands and thousands of beastmen he brought with him.
Hmm. So they didn't understand the beastman's true strength. Compound interest. So, yeah. They just over time, the longer you leave them, the more they propagate. Amazing.
It's they were suddenly dealing with a lot more, and again, Morgur is back. And his passive ick field is still in full swing. Because like every now and again, they almost get him. Like they keep almost killing him. And then everyone about to strike the finishing blow on him and his army goes completely insane and just starts swinging at everything around him. It's for once in Warhammer, it's not always permanent. Like sometimes if you can hold them down long enough, they might snap back to their senses.
Okay.
But it means that Morgur keeps getting away. He heals up because he heals alarmingly quickly. And he's off. They get in. Eventually, they get into one final battle. Coadil, he hasn't quite been imprisoned yet. He hasn't gone insane yet. He just gives up. Like he's done trying to kill him. And just like, come here, you. So he just grabs him and like full Nelsons him. Like you're not getting away. You're not getting away. I don't care. I do not care. Ariel, she readies her Dragon Ball Z attack, charging it up. She brings forth not only her own power, but that of the forest. And not even Morgur can make it. And he dies here once again. His form shattered, his spirits dealt away with, and it's still not great though, because wherever Morgur walked through doesn't quite heal. Doesn't quite get as good as it used to be. And the place where he died is known as the Glade of Woe. Everyone stays away from it because the forest spirits around there might be a little bit of chaos corruption that you just can't get away. It's ick. It's bad. You can't do anything about it.
That's a good name for an area. Sometimes Warhammer names just go pretty hard. That's pretty good.
Dude, Glade of Woe is pretty great. They nailed it with that one. Yeah. So rough time. After that, I did mention it earlier. Coadil does his funny treachery thing. He struck at the time least expected because him and his allies, his tree spirit insane allies, just didn't go to sleep for the winter. Ariel did. Again, she doesn't die. She doesn't have to be reincarnated, but she does still take a nap. And with that, Coadil and his allies just kind of started cutting down all the Wood Elves they could find.
Oh. Well, literally just while she's sleeping and just hear like, help me, help, snap. Like twigs, ironically. I just like the idea that the Wood Elves are like, wait, they're awake during the winter. They're just going, they can do that?
They can do that? Oh, God.
Sounds OP to me. Oh, no, my limbs.
Yeah, so they killed a whole lot of elves before Ariel, woke up halfway through her nap and was like, you are not going to get away with this. So she dealt with all of them. She really wanted to kill him, but she couldn't, both out of respect for the not totally insane trees and more so because Coadil is part of the forest. Ariel is part of the forest. She kills part of the forest. She kills part of herself.
Ooh.
So she just banishes them to the Glade of Woe. It's like, you know what? You can go sit there. Fine.
You're in timeout, she said.
Yeah.
In the ickiest part of the forest, other than that chaos patch, which is also bad.
Or actually, it's a similar. It's like their specific part is called the Wildwood. It's another place the elves just don't go.
Okay.
They locked it, like they built a bunch of like magical waystones. Like, you stay. So yeah. Coadil hasn't done anything ever since then, but any elves who go in get slain by like his dryad handmaidens. So the elves tend to not go there.
Yeah.
It's they're trees, right? It would kind of go on from there to be like, much like trees, they'd have seasons of rebirth, seasons of, kind of bad times, like spring goes to winter, all that stuff. Things are good. They eventually they get like a semi-unspoken alliance with Bretonia.
Oh, no.
It's a lot more manipulative on the part of the Wood Elves, but every now and then some Wood Elves and maybe even a forest spirit will whisper in the ears of the king, guide him on, policies and whatnot. Orion, for his part, sometimes tries to limit the damage of the Wild Hunt against Bretonnia. Sometimes, when
I just
he
like the
feels
idea.
like it.
You were saying, well, like they just watch them like go through all this trouble, and I like the idea that after a while they just felt bad. They're like, oh, these peasants, they keep dying in the most stupid way. Can we give them can we help them out a little? It's sad. They're so stupid. Okay, we'll help them a bit. They're backward and they're superstitious, and they keep eating poisonous mushrooms. Idiot. Okay, fine. We'll help them a bit because I feel bad. Ah, poor Bretonians.
Yeah. Once again, Morger comes back. They keep
Again.
it is a nonstop thing. They have to deal with him, and at one point, Ariel just really tries to kill him permanently. Uh, eh, eh, eh.
Doesn't go well.
She kind of gets corrupted with dark magic. Not helping this is that part of the way she learned learned a way to properly deal with him is that long ago, Ariel had a sister. That sister was Malekith's wife.
Oh.
So she eventually learned about all that. So her Ariel's sister, who's named Alisara, was allowed to go be with her husband again. She felt bad, because her sister was, she was in the foot with the Wood Elves, but she was like, well, maybe if I was around, maybe she could have fixed him.
I can fix him, she said.
Yeah. And fair enough. She might have been able to. Especially early on. Malekith he had a lot of depressive episodes where he'd think about how far he'd fallen and he'd just lock himself in his tower. He's not coming out. Marathi, however, does not want her son to go back to the light side, does not want Darth Vader, Dark Elf Darth Vader to become Dark Elf Anakin once again. And so, on her way to kind of be remarried or renew their vows, however you want to put it, she had a good escort, good army. That army was a disgraced elven lord. It was not like a disgrace. He was kind of he was socially disgraced, but he wasn't kicked out of Ulthuan.
Yeah.
What she did do to him, however, was charm him and make him think that her wedding escort was an army of Nagaroth corsairs.
Okay.
So he got an army and attacked Alisara's wedding party.
The Red Wedding before it was in Game of Thrones. Amazing.
Yeah. Alisara, she's still a Wood Elf mage, so she's like, I know he's not thinking straight. I can sense the enchantment. I want to free him. It didn't quite work. So he stabs her through the heart. Then does the counter spell go in, and he realized what he did, threw himself off a cliff. This high elf lord. Don't matter. Yeah, he's dead. She's dead. Malekith's wife's dead.
Everyone's dead, and Marathi is cackling.
Marathi is having a great time. Ariel, for her part, is like, no, that was my sister, you bitch.
Cat fight. Said all the members of the court. Oh no.
The first target wasn't even Marathi, unfortunately. It was pretty much everyone remotely related to that high elf prince that did unfortunately end up killing the lady. Because The wild hunt, the target this time was Ulthuan, so they went to one of its provinces and just kind of started burning it to the ground.
Ooh.
Malekith, for his part, he also learned of, his mom killing his wife. Publicly, he forgave her for, political reasons. Secretly, he kind of went to the Wood Elves and was like, "Hey," or no, he didn't quite go to the Wood Elves, but when they eventually carved their way to Nagaroth, he was like to any reinforcing armies that would go help Marathi, he was like, "Hey, why don't you hang back? No, you don't worry about helping. You don't need to get involved. Just chill. Don't worry about it."
It's the only way she'll learn. Stop killing my betrothed.
Yeah. She gets to Marathi, and she could have killed Marathi, but for both, narrative reasons and bribery reasons, Orion was ready to kill her. She falls to her knees and starts begging. But Ariel holds back. Marathi promised her some sorceries, little bit of dark sorceries. They're definitely not the nice wood elf wood life kind of sorceries. But Ariel was like, I might need these.
The spells are inscribed in a book made of someone's skin, and you go,
probably it was
well,
decent odds on whose skin it was. Could have been anyone's. It's Marathi.
Yeah.
So she, of course, doesn't give up her greatest of secrets, but if she's got to give up a little bit to ensure she doesn't get murdered by the two gods standing in front of her, so be it. And she teaches Ariel some dark magic, which kind of does bad things to the forest, because Ariel's part of it manifested, and when she starts going crazy with dark magic, it kind of trickles down to the rest of the forest.
Is that because she's part of the forest, kind of like the big tree?
Yeah, she's part of the big tree. The big tree is part of the forest. All the wood elves and spirits are part of the forest. So everyone kind of starts going just completely insane, and it goes from like anyone invading Athel, Loren, they take the wood elves defend themselves, to you were within 1,000 miles of a path we once looked at. I'm murdering you and your family, and then dancing in the entrails.
If your 5-year-old daughter picked a flower from any of the gardens we've been cultivating because she thought it looked pretty, woe be your entire family. We are going to kill you all. Like, wow, okay. She just thought it was a cute dandelion. What's going on? What's going on, buddy? Bit of an extreme reaction, gotta say.
Yeah. Everyone nearby Bretonia just starts getting obliterated. Pretty much the only two people that are sane are Durthu and Adanhu. Everyone else is has gone nuts. Bretonia's getting burned down, dwarf caravans are getting obliterated, and holds are being slaughtered. And Ariel the whole time is helping out her underlings with dark magic, which little does she know is making things worse. And she uses more dark magic because she gets a little bit more insane, which makes her go more insane. So she uses more dark magic, on and on and on. Morgar's back also. That's not helping.
He's just there being a problem again. And he doesn't even know.
This time, her plan is to eat him. Because she's fully lost in the sauce. And she even has like a bunch of her spell singers, Wood Elf mages are called, bind him and bring him back to the Oak of Ages, which is surely a Wood Elf heresy if I've ever heard of one. Where at this point, like, Durthu looks and is like, no, this is not happening. We're done here. And he kills Morgar. She's not happy. This whole time, Orion was not allowed to be reborn, so he died one winter, as he always does, and she didn't let him come back. At one point, the Phoenix King, the guy in charge of Ulthuan, he sent some emissaries. He's like, I know we've got a rough history. I know the High Elf, our ancestors kind of abandoned you. I'd like to make some amends. Let's open up some diplomatic ties, right? Let's get some conversations going. And then she trapped him within the unseen paths of the forest. Just threw him in the middle of nowhere and had it shift around them forever.
Oh, that's not going to help diplomatic relations, is it? Like, wow,
They
cast you into the Never Realm. Wow, thanks.
they did eventually get out into an army of Bretonnians who didn't quite understand the difference between the elves and
another elf.
Yeah, and just saw elves have been burning down our homes. These are elves. So
wait,
they died.
you're telling me the ignorant, superstitious peasant people couldn't distinguish between two different things that were kind of similar?
Believe it or not, no, they couldn't.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Eventually, like Adanhu, Durthu, and all of the remaining sane tree sorts, like we can't let this happen. I can feel the forest dying now. So they go to try and talk to Ariel, right? You ever see like the DC animated shows, Hawk Girl, or like more like the DC Mortal Kombat or whatever crossovers, like Injustice, where Hawk Girl she just screams?
I think I've seen photos. Yeah,
Ariel does that. Summons all of the Wood Elves and crazy spirits to her, and now it's a fight. Adanhu, because remember, the forest is all connected, draws the darkness in Ariel's heart into her because these are still elves. We got to have some magical nonsense every now and again, which kills him but frees Ariel of the taint. And she goes to hide in the Oak of Ages.
He literally great Deku trees. He gets like, the evil inside me, but I must go, Link. Go forth and save Hyrule.
Yeah.
Said the big tree.
Which has incidentally cut down the remaining big tree lords to just Durthu.
Oh, dear.
Who has never really been able to process his PTSD. Eventually, things kind of get a little bit better. The forest heals. They stop going completely insane. The Wood Elves, kind of a way to make up for like the many manslaughters. The many murders they had committed during this time. They started kind of helping out, even helping out dwarfs sometimes. A dwarf army would find itself about to be slaughtered by orcs. Suddenly, the forest is alive and filled with hate, but for the orcs, and then they just leave. There's still Wood Elves. They're insane, and they tell no one what they're doing, or if what another person is doing is harmful to the forest. So they kind of enter the holding pattern they were in by modern Warhammer fantasy. The Wood Elves, they want to save, they call it the Weave, which is like all the feng shui of magic in nature.
Okay.
But again, they don't tell you they're doing this. So one day, they save your life from like a horde of beastmen. They just ask for nothing in return. They just kill the beastmen and leave. They did that for Karl Franz. He was almost killed by a beastman around the time he was born, until some Wood Elves saved him because they sensed he would go on to become the greatest emperor. On the flip side, you built that mining tunnel a little bit too close to Athel Loren, so we've poisoned your water supply.
Oi, dwarfs, is that a high-speed rail I see infringing on our continent? Oh, you're gonna get it.
It's not ideal.
You didn't ask us for planning permission. Time to die.
They're helping at least as long as they're hurting, but they're not telling anyone why they're helping or how to help themselves. So they just kind of keep killing people. Ariel, she's still meditating deep in this time. Orion was allowed to come back. and do things, but Ariel's
He's
still
out of the
not hiding away.
he's out of the doghouse after being like, babes, you're gonna revive me, babes.
Yeah.
Babes, years pass. What the hell was that about? I've been asleep for years. Sorry, I went a bit evil. My bad.
Eventually, Ariel, she's gone, but she gets herself some emissaries, twins named Niastra and Arahan. They were in a Total War DLC. These twins at one point fuse into one being. I reversed it. They were one being who walked into one of the particularly magical parts of Athel, Loren, and then came out as Niastra and Arahan.
Oh, they blew horrid. Nice.
Yeah. They, they're never seen apart. They finish each other's sentences.
They're those twins. Oh,
they're those kind of twins.
Ugh.
One of them, is Niastra. She's noble. She's kind. She's a My Little Pony character. Abhors violence. Very nice. Very kind. Arahan is Angron if he was a wood elf.
I just like the idea that like I was just like, are we going to go pick? Shall we go pick some flowers today? I'm sure there's some jewels, and then it was like, and that's like their dynamic. Yeah, just like with a leash, like, come on, dear, and that's kind of how they interact.
Now, Andy, I want you to take a guess. What event could possibly bring Ariel back to the world?
Where's the thing? Part of me is saying like the end times, but like,
nope, too early.
Skaven?
Not Skaven. You're
not Skaven.
You're getting close because this thing also ruins everything it touches.
Nagash?
Nope. You're getting colder. Morgar's back.
Oh, again? I wasn't even thinking of him. I was like, oh, surely the Skaven's going to cause. No, it's this guy.
No, he's
this
back.
Guy just can't, doesn't know when to quit. The guy. Wow. Okay.
He's back. He's kind of just become a permanent thing that Ariel's going to have to deal with. Like to the point they're kind of even linked, and sometimes he'd call out to her in the darkness, which horrifying and annoying.
She's the Joker to her. He's the Joker to her Batman. Basically, you can't have one without the other.
Yeah. And again, it's sometimes Orion gets involved if it coincides with the Wild Hunt in one of those deaths. He was, Orion did a lot of the damage as the rest of the army surrounded him and riddled him with arrows, and Orion killed him. It keeps happening. It keeps happening. But bright side, Ariel's back. Orion's around right now. Husband and wife are reunited. The Wood Elves are kind of whole again. It should be noted, whole is still that holding pattern of they will help you without saying anything, and then they will kill you without saying anything, and you do not get to know why or what's going on. You just have to accept it.
There are no diplomats. There are no MSOs. Like, just guess. Just on their borders. Like, can I stand here? Raises bow and arrow. Takes a step back. Unsheaths. Like, oh, okay, this is the boundary. Okay, I'll guess then. Not very helpful.
Yeah, So the Wood Elves, kind of for some more general stuff. We'll end with their end times because they have a lot of the times they live in like small little nomadic, semi-nomadic groups because they are Wood Elves. They are forest hippies. They moving around Athel, Loren, helping out the trees as they go, making friends with the trees that are slightly less omnicidal. They do have some more like permanent areas, right? Like there's fittingly the ones that are settlements in Total War, most notably. Tulsin, there's a place called King Glades, and that's where the Oak of Ages is. It's where Orion holds his court when he's around and sleeps when he's not. Well, I guess he kind of dies, where his corpse waits to be brought back.
Where he's interred.
Yeah. There's Art. Dredanon would probably be great for saying these names. Arguilon, where that's where there's a whole lot of tree spirits. There's a place called the Anvil of Vol, because both every high elf or every elf faction has a place called the Anvil of Vol,
Yeah.
where an elf named Daith, who turns out to be Vol reincarnated, makes some great weapons with the I don't know, whatever's around him, really. Every now and then
berries, branches, and a bit of a stone, I guess.
they use metal sometimes, not often, but they can.
Yeah. Okay.
They're a lot more Fey than like any other elves, like, and I mean like medieval stories of the Fey where they randomly gift you all the gold you could ever want and then steal your firstborn. They'll help, they'll harm, no reasons are ever given by this. One day they invite you in for a great feast, and then they feed you. It's a great time. You're allowed to leave. One day they invite you in for a great feast. They feed you. It's a great time. And they were fattening you up for a forest spirit and sacrifice you.
Those cheeky elves. Kind of reminds me of the Fae from Kingdoms of Amalur. That was a strange game.
I never played it.
They're kind of alien, and the annoying thing about that game, like 90% of the game is in like green Fae naturey areas, and the only time you get to like the snowy area is the very end of the game, and you just kind of charge through it. And you're like, oh, so it's not much variety. There's just a lot of trees going on, and they're very strange. And you do missions, and you try to help them out to like prevent the end times sort of thing, and they're just very odd, and no one quite knows what they're about. But it's an interesting trope, I suppose, for the Fae.
Yeah, they're like, there's a lot of like the duality. Like they'll help, they'll hurt. They're at the same time incredibly arrogant, and they think they're the only like true proper elves left. The high elves are, ironically, too full of themselves and overbearing. Of course, then they look at the dark elves and go, "Yeah, you deserve every hand you've been dealt in life for being the worst." Which, not a wrong statement. They, and if they could help it, they would love to just not do anything and never leave the forest, except for when the wild hunt happens and it's time to kill random things. Unfortunately, as the Warhammer, we come to the modern era of Warhammer Fantasy, they've had to go out marching more and more, because that's even before the end times were a thing. It's modern Warhammer Fantasy. This is the setting it takes place. Everyone's got to have a reason to fight, and all the prophets and seers were like, something big's coming. If we don't get out there, it's going to be bad. That being said, they do still hate leaving the forest if they can help it. They have like the shared elf religion, right? Like, all the elves worship the same pantheon. Different aspects of it for each race. And of course, in the Wood Elves, it's not Assyrian or Cain at top. It's Kurnos and Isha. They're the nature gods. But under them, they don't really differentiate between the good and evil halves of the pantheon. They'll worship Lilith, who's the kind, the friendly little sister who sees the future. She's nice. They'll worship her when it's, they're feeling compassionate. Sometimes they worship Cain because it's time to murder. It just is what it is. There's Kurnos and Isha, and then there's everyone else as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, and Kurnos and Isha are in 40k as like the ones who Cain really doesn't like for betraying him. So does that cross over into the fantasy lore? Or are they kind of a different thing?
He doesn't like them very much. It's not quite the same as 40k, because there was never that prophecy where the elves were going to get him killed, so he started killing every elf ever.
Yeah, and there's no spirit stones and tears of Isha, so like,
at least not in the same capacity. Like, they're kind of there, but In fantasy, they're more like glorified GPS to help you find a waystone.
Okay.
It's not as significant. Like, they don't like each other, but it's not quite as hateful as it is. I do think Cain still chained Vol to his anvil, though, in fantasy. Because
Poor
of course
guy.
he did.
Yeah, poor fella. And the thing was, in 40k, it's like, I'm going to chain you to the anvil while you can hear the screams of Isha and Kurnus while I torture them below your forge. Like, thanks, Cain. Swell guy.
He's not doing that, at least.
Yeah, he's a bit better.
Not much.
Not much, no.
They... Also, I've said they're insane a couple of times. Their language, right?
Right.
Like, the normal high elf language is all about duality. Like, for example, there's a symbol I got from the high elf lexicon that means I painted on my Eldar. It means the like a gentle storm and also scouring rain.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of their language is like that. The Wood Elf language is like that. But also it might change based on what day you say the word. They might not even know what they intend to do until the words have finished leaving their mouth. It's like that. It's completely insane. Like, it is madman logic. There is logic to it, but this is just madman logic. Like, they might help you. Like, they may offer you, and genuinely mean it, just complete assistance, no holds barred. It sounds like a death threat. And of course, vice versa. They may, you might hear the nicest sentence from a Wood Elf you've ever heard. It brightens your day. You've been feeling down, but you know what? Those words were all you needed to hear, and it came from a magical forest being. You're feeling great. It was a promise to cut you into quarters and feed you to a tree.
Wow. And that's not intentional. That's not them being like, hey, we're going to feed off the ignorance of others by like, oh, it sounds nice and pleasant when it's a threat, but it sounds bad when it's aid. So it's like...
No, they talk to each other like that too. They are just actually like that.
That's just what they're like. That's that chaos influence, I'm sure.
Chaos influence and the forest, because if you remember back to the start, the demons made note that those tree spirits are not that different from us.
It's not kind of like the thing in 40k where some creatures and entities in the warp aren't malevolent. They're just like, they exist, but they just don't exist in very big numbers because there's so much negative energy that like humans create in day-to-day life. They exist, but they're not evil. They're just warp entities. But these guys are like, we're cut from the same cloth. We're not evil. But it doesn't necessarily mean we're good.
And they are an old one, a potentially old one creation that sprang forth from a giant magical tree. And magic, either way, in fantasy, all comes from the realm of chaos. So there's something not far off. Like, they are at least somewhat related to the warp and the realm of chaos. It's
sorry, it's just like the exerted fort noise there. You're like, just feeling your brain.
They're a mess because I don't even know if to call, like, they're kind of, the reason they're a quote unquote could be considered a good guy faction is because, like, the evil factions, the orcs, chaos, the Skaven, the undead, they're evil in a way that usually permanently alters the landscape, I guess, except for the orcs. But I mean, that's only because they're not smart enough to bring about industrial mining equipment. And orc energy isn't corruptive, it's just explosive. Like, they fight those threats more than any other because when chaos invades, right, they're not just looking for wood for the forest, they're looking to turn the forest into a chaos gate. But they'll still kill anyone, and they frequently do. Like, they're insane madmen elves. Again, not helping is even ignoring the forest spirits. There's all that stuff I was saying about Athel, Loren. Sometimes you walk in, right, and you walk out. You might be fine. You walk in, you walk out. You spent 10,000 years in that forest. You didn't know that, but you did. And it all catches up to you the moment you leave and you age into dust.
Okay.
Alternatively, you walk in, you get lost for like 50 years, you come out an old man, 2 seconds have passed. You go to mom's, you go to mom's for dinner. Mom's son is now older than her.
Has there ever been a story where someone's walked in, been gone for a really long time, and come out relatively unchanged? Like
It
a
it
kind of
it does
put them on
happen,
the back bench?
like those feasts or ceremonies. They'll sometimes invite random people in for. Sometimes they are just invited to the ceremony and they get to have a fun time with the forest, and then they leave.
I just like because I could imagine the forest spirits being like, "Oh, here's this champion of a faction which we don't have control of, but we understand they're quite powerful. Let's keep them wandering through the forest until we need them to fight something outside of our domains and be like, ah, there's a big enemy army coming. We'll lead them for a merry chase for a few years and then let them out. And then look who happened to be in the way of the forest.
Oh
Ah,
no!
what a
Yeah,
shame. Good thing you brought your entire army. Oh, I guess you'll have to fight through them to get back home.
what are you gonna do?
What a to do.
That is a trick they like to do. Of course, sometimes the forest has a mind of its own too. Remember, so usually you need both blessings, wood elf and forest, to be allowed in. Because these trees are alive. Remember, so it might turn into some dryads and kill you. Might turn into a tree man, which is an ent, and kill you. Might turn into a tree lord, which is a really big ent, and kill you. You might get lost in the Glade of Woe, in which case it's corrupted by chaos. Have fun. The Wood Elves certainly aren't going in to rescue you. You might get lost in Coadil's little prison with all of his insane little minions. So have fun with that. You might meet Dryka, who's insane, even by Wood Elf and Dryad standards. She will kill you.
Has anyone got been, because you said about how they helped Karl Franz from being attacked by Beastmen when he was younger. Are there any characters from completely different factions where they're like, we respect you, we'll give you a gift or help you, or is there any weird alliances that you'd think, oh, that's because you're talking about the ogres and Cathay, and about how the Dragon Prince has a weird relationship with Greasus, and you would think that's a strange pairing. Is there anything like that with the Wood Elves or the trees?
The closest is Bretonia. There's a few Grail Knight monasteries that are allowed to exist in Bretonia that they can make pilgrimages to. They do help Bretonia a little bit more often than they wild hunt all over the peasants. Usually, at least the king of Bretonia will every now and again get a little bit of wood elf advice, maybe even some assistance, especially if it's it's Tuesday and Morgar's back and someone's got to deal with it.
I just like the idea that they pick on the peasants. They're as soon as they see a noble coming their way, it's how much GDP did your town have? Oh, how much? Yeah, welcome in. Clearly not a dirty peasant, said the tree.
Yeah.
Wow. What's going on there, buddy?
There is also, there's Carillion and Vermintide. She's, it took 2 games, but she's warmed up to where to even the dwarf.
I was going to ask about her. That must be a bit unprecedented to have a wood elf outside of the forest helping other people, or are they those kind of rangers who just go out?
They do have rangers that go out. The oldest wood elves know it's the forest is not quite as isolated as we'd like it to be, and the youngest wood elves, they just like the adventure, so they will have rangers go out and help.
When we say young, are we talking about young for an elf?
Young for an
400 years old.
They're only 80.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So that so they do go out and help every now and again, and they are, if insane elves, still living beings. They can form attachments with others. They usually don't. They really they take elven isolationism to the logical extreme of, I never want to see you or anyone that isn't a tree or another wood elf again. Most of the time, but they can be. They hang out.
Yeah, they're basically Exodites, but in fantasy.
Yeah, and probably more murder. I don't know. The Exodites don't get enough lore for me to make that statement confidently. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, again, their whole thing is just we're going to stay on this maiden world and we're never leaving.
Yeah.
And we just tend to things.
The Exodites are very much like the Wood Elf translation 40K, but they don't have an army or any lore.
Well, but also the trouble is they never leave their planet. It's our whole thing is kind of become like the Amish. You get rid of the technology, You tend to the fields, you keep the wild spirit happy, never leave, don't do any vices because that's how Slanesh happens. And then all the other Eldar races like these primitives, look at them with plows, should get a shuriken pistol or something. I don't know. Like, what's going on with you? Where's your spaceships? And they're like, oh, we kind of don't want them. Look at this cool dinosaur I get to ride around. Like, cool. How are you going to get them in a story unless it's on a maiden world? I suppose.
Yeah,
a bit tricky.
It's yeah, that's kind of the default state of the Wood Elves is randomly helping, randomly hurting. If you try and talk to them, you're getting what may as well be utter gibberish. Well, real quick to the end time, shall we?
Okay.
Turns out the Beastmen had overrun a whole lot of Athel Loren. When the end times were breaking out, the Wood Elves just kind of looked at everyone else going through shit and laughed. Yeah, it sucks to be you. Turns out the Oak of Ages, the Tree of Life, is full of maggots and rotting from the inside out.
How long's that been going on for?
Some amount of time.
Yeesh. How did they figure that? Like, I just like the idea of one day one of them's walking around and just sees like a branch and just goes, oh, what's that? And then finds the maggot and then goes, Gary, we have a problem. It's like, oh no. And they're just like looking through the hole. It's just like writhing, like, because it must be a lot of maggots for like what I assume is like, that tree in Dark Souls 1 where it goes the ash.
It's like
that's
that.
a big tree.
It's a big tree. That's a lot of maggots.
Yeah.
Eventually, though, a lot of scheming is happening during this point. The elven goddess Lilith, she's doing a lot of scheming. Like a whole lot of scheming. And if it's eventually revealed that Ariel is kind of dying, while like Isha as a whole, like the proper ethereal goddess version, kind of has divine dementia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So eventually, Lilith convenes a way for Allariel, the Everqueen, who also is kind of a little bit of a less potent incarnation of Isha, to absorb Ariel and the rest of Isha, pretty much. So now the Wood Elves swear loyalty to Allariel, the Everqueen, who is a high elf, but she's the one who lives in the hippie land, so it's close. During this time, the Wood Elves, I'm kind of a little bit sad to say, don't have too much in the end times. Various characters like that Daith guy are revealed. Hey, he's Vol reincarnated. Orion is Kurnos, so he's here. The show is on Ulthuan and the Dark Elves and High Elves. So at one point, the Tyrion does the funny, pulls the Sword of Cain, goes nuts. He goes to fight Orion, and Tyrion / Cain brutally murders him. But Orion does manage to, stab a chink in his armor and keep the wound formed by an earlier elf open. He hurts Tyrion pretty badly.
Okay.
At one point, Tyrion goes completely insane, and Durthu comes to, I think, my favorite, realization I've ever seen in a setting. He's not strong enough to kill Orion, or Tyrion. Tyrion's got the spirit of Cain possessing him. He's the war god right now. He's insane. Tyrion is still just physically an elf, right? About 7 feet tall, pretty thin. Orion's Durthu's a 30-foot tall tree. So he just punts him out of Athel Loren. Just leave, get out of here.
Yeet.
He's not
he does
dead.
The giant thing from Skyrim. Just
he's not dead because he's got Cain's blessing. All this ancient, near unbreakable armor. But it's not fighting. It's just physics. He just kicks him out, which is amazing.
I just love the idea that he's flying through the air for hours, just contemplating his life decisions with like a comet soaring through the air. When am I going to land? This is taking ages.
Yeah, it's like, God, it's been forever. Ulthuan eventually sinks. All the Dark Elves left Nagaroth, so Khorne ransacked whatever was left. So all of the elves briefly take up home in Athel, Loren, which leads to some tension. Not helped is when the rest of the incarnates in the various armies also come to Athel, Loren for a bit. So not only are the elves they don't like hanging around, humans and dwarfs are hanging around. Nagash shows up at one point, so now he's hanging around. It's not great. It is eventually, they're sent off. Oh no, I'm skipping one important thing because it's such a nothing that I forget about it. Lilith revealed she had a backup world. That's in fact why Bretonnia had Grail Knights. She was making them to be the demigod protectors of this new planet and her chosen Wood Elves, and would become the gods and goddesses.
Okay.
Including one named Ariloth, who was kind of like Assyrian reborn, or at least he would be the Assyrian equivalent. Okay. So then, she sent a whole lot of people over to that world. Manfred von Karstein.
Oh.
He was given to the rest of the people here as a gesture of good faith by Nagash, particularly like the High Elves, because he was like, hey Tyrion, you know who got your daughter killed?
Here you go.
I know it was to bring me back, but you know who kidnapped her? Here he is.
I like that. He's just like such a dick. He's like, I know I can't convince people that I'm trustworthy, but I can give them what they want for like their basis. Like, I'll give you something to sate your vengeance or your annoyance. Like, nothing he ever does is kind or good. It's just like, no, I'm going to give you someone who you really hated so you can torture them.
Yeah.
Have fun. Like, oh, what a git.
Yeah. Then Manfred, he's freed. Or no, well, he's imprisoned in this, it's a magical prison. He can't break out on his own, right? Who he can break out, or who can break him out is Be'lakor.
Oh wow.
Who frees him of his prison in exchange for Manfred telling him about literally a secret world. And the last thing we hear about that and all the Wood Elves and Grail Knights sent to it is that Lilith just lost contact with it.
Uh-oh. We've got a Be'lakor problem.
I'm assuming something along the lines of slip space rupture detected. Something along those lines seems like that's what happened in that world, especially because it hasn't shown back up in Age of Sigmar. So yeah, with that, most of the various Wood Elves eventually become part of the big ol' army. Teclis teleports over to Middenheim to save the end of the world. They fight, they die, the world's almost saved. Manfred's, the world ends, and the Oak of Ages is the last bit of the Warhammer world to fade into nothingness as the warp overtakes the planet.
Wow.
It does make it back into Age of Sigmar, the Oak of Ages.
Less maggots this time?
Less maggots this time. When Allariel ate the other Isha bits, kind of healed it.
Oh, okay.
But then the Chaos won anyways, so it didn't really mean anything.
Strange tree.
And that, by and large, was the Wood Elves. Are there any questions?
So they transformed into something new in Age of Sigmar then, or have they just gone?
So it's
complicated.
So the Forest Spirits are like their own army now, under Allariel. Allariel's back. She kind of leads like the Wood Elf equivalent. She even brought the ruined Oak of Ages back to life in the new setting and used it to sucker punch Nagash. But it's weird because there were, as there were in the old world, Wood Elves hanging around, right? They were hanging around with Allariel's Forest Spirits, who she views as her children. Right. When Chaos broke into Age of Sigmar, the Wood Elves aren't rooted to the ground. They kind of just started running wherever they could. and kind of left Allariel and her forest spirit children to fight on their own.
Wow. Okay.
Little bit
Screw you
rude.
guys.
Little bit rude. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow. They just
So
bailed.
I don't.
And to be fair to them, they were like, "Hey, you let the world blow up. I'm not getting involved in any more of your shenanigans. I'm getting out of here."
I'll check right now, and I know like a lot of like former elven spirits from Warhammer Fantasy were like reincarnated as tree people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and I'll check the web store real quick just to make sure. But I don't think there's any like normal elves in this. Yeah, there's not any like proper like normal elves in the Sylvaneth range. I believe because those Wood Elves are called the Dispossessed, and they did eventually. Allariel, they came back after the Age of Chaos ended, and Allariel forgave them. A lot of the tree spirits did not quite forgive them, so it's a little bit uneasy there.
Yeah.
And let me check the cities of Sigmar range, because I feel at one point, if nothing else, there were some what do you call them? Some like old Wood Elf models you could use in the cities of Sigmar range, because there still are a lot of Dark Elf models you can use like that. In fact, if you want to get any Dark Elf models, that's how you get them. It doesn't look like, at least anymore, you can get any Wood Elves as part of the Cities of Sigmar box. But that might also be because they've gone back to the old world, so they're not being sold for AOS anymore. So what's going on with the Dispossessed and that specifically, I don't know. I have fears they're going the way of the Beastmen. Oof. And will simply not be talked about anymore.
Yeah.
But bright side, Wood Elves are back. You can buy them as an army in proper, old Warhammer Fantasy. So hey, that's you can still get all those minis again. They have.
Nice.
I'm having another moment because some of those models are real cool, right? Like some of them look good. Right. Some of them were not allowed to come back from Age of Sigmar.
Right.
Which is why the nice and cool updated Durthu model has been replaced with the old equivalent I'm sending over to you now. The old Tree Lord model.
Wow, look at that guy. He looks cranky. The little guy in his skull. What is that thing?
The little forest spirit. They got little forest light spirits that follow him around.
He looks like gangly evil Pac-Man. What's going on there?
Yeah. There's also
strange.
For $110, you too, Andy, can get something you could get at like a Toys R Us for $5.
Oh wow, they look bad. What is going on? What is with the guy's jawline?
I have no idea.
It's the guy. It's the meme of the guy with the long chin. He kind of looks like, what's his name? Is it the guy from Crazy Tech? We Are Number One fella.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He looks like him. What is going on there?
There's also, the Wood Elves are all about duality, right? So here's a kit of duality, and one of the few times GW's the woman sculpts weren't infinitely worse than the man sculpts.
Wow.
Because with this lovely image, the two lady mages, they look like proper arcane warriors, and then the dude in the back looked like he's desperately holding in like a shit. And the dude in the front looks like he's realized he's failed that battle.
Well, the guy on the front has a little gremlin fella.
But
the guy at the back, he also kind of looks like a power metal band singer who's just standing at the front, like, yeah, I'm gonna do a song. Like, wow.
Yeah. I guess for a little bit of an end, a little bit of tabletop for anyone curious. Very good ranged weapons, some of the best in the game. Their magic's very good. Their battalion box is absurdly good. Like, short of heroes and some of like the forest creature units, you get the whole army, essentially. So that's an actual GW savings box that's good. And they're very fast and they hit pretty hard. Downside, they can't really take any magical items, so you can't upgrade your heroes very much. at least, the trees. Vulnerable to flaming attacks, so you better hope your opponent doesn't have any fire magic.
No dwarves, ever.
Yeah. They're not very strong. They're not tough. Like this.
Glass cannons, basically.
Yeah, glass cannons. And unless my eyes deceive me, which I will take a quick glance through the web store again. Yeah, my eyes do not deceive me. This is I think the only old world faction to not have gotten new models.
Ooh, that's a shame.
And it shows.
Are you holding out hope they might get some new models, or
I'd like them to, or at least for some of these things to be updated, because for the love of God, please, like I know you don't want cross sales between AOS and Old World, or at least I'm assuming, but please just let the Wood Elf players use some of the Age of Sigmar tree, man. These things are painful to look at.
Wood Elf, like, model builders, they're just like shaving down their chin so they're less absurd. Like, yeah,
in fact,
I have to kit match.
I don't think they don't even have dryads, at least not on the web store.
Huh.
Which was like the tree man version of the frontline infantry, that's an interesting choice. The Wood Elves, I would say, have definitely come back the worse off. I'm glad they're available, and you can still form a proper army with them. It's just everyone else who's come back, if they don't have the full set, they at least have enough to make like a fully functioning army with without like losing, like they have all the functions they had in original fantasy, if not maybe all the ways to go about those functions. It looks like the Wood Elves kind of lost their line infantry.
And I suppose all the new models added to each of the factions all was like, here's my army, here's the cool new look. Don't look at the others. Like, it draws your eye away. Whereas like these guys, they have no saving graces of like, check out the guys squatting in a weird pose. You got the big chin lads. You got
especially
animals.
With Cathay, those models next to the Wood Elves. It's like, boy, you did not get the love you should have.
No. The ugly stepchild's syndrome. Like, oh, poor fellas.
But yeah, those were just about the Wood Elves. Bears brief mention before I forget. There is one other Enclaves of Wood Elves. I won't talk about them too much, both because I don't want to take up too much time, and I am uneducated on them. I would need to talk to good old Andy next time when he's on a Lawmaster, or when if I'm doing anything with him and Sotek again, because he wrote a whole lot of their lore. It is a group of offshoot Wood Elves in Lower Loren Forest, which is in the province of Nordland in the Empire. That they're a lot nicer. They help the Sigmarites out very often. They actually trade and ally, and you can even sometimes come into the magical forest without being brutally murdered or sacrificed.
What an achievement!
They could go there if they wish, but because they've been separated for so long, they've kind of grown distinct cultures. So chief among them being they're much less isolationist. So it's again, I don't know everything about them, but they're like a much nicer, friendlier version of the Wood Elves, if less powerful, because they've only got their one smaller magical forest as opposed to the massive blob that is Athel Loren.
I just like the idea that they were like, oh, we're near some human civilizations, and started trading with them and go, what have they got that we don't? And they're like, we have this thing called wine. Like, what? It's made of grapes, but it's a bit naughty. It's like naughty grapes. This is the best thing ever. Oh, we like these humans, yeah. What is this? This is called cheese. We'll trade you 5 boars for a casket of wine. Brilliant. Relations secure.
The forest is, of course, split into 4 parts because seasons. And you know they're pretty nice. They're like the closest Warhammer's ever gotten to like Lord of the Ring elves, in that their arrogance is more tempered than it isn't, and they aren't complete dickheads. Some, of course, they were able to negotiate with the Phoenix King, and they're officially acknowledged as their own thing. They're not just like offshoot elves that the Phoenix King would like to try and get back in. He's like, nope, you're your own polity, which unfortunately does mean that, well, maybe not necessarily unfortunately, but they've tried to negotiate with the Dark Elves every now and again, try and get them to stop raiding. Try.
Didn't turn out well.
Try.
Excuse me, sir. Could you stop being like a menace? It's my favorite thing.
It's
I'm not going to stop doing that.
I don't think I will. And yeah, that's just about the Wood Elves. Any last questions or?
Any last questions? So do they have good representation on Total War? Because I know you mentioned that the twins are in. Is it the first game? Have they had many heroes pop up that like, oh, you get to play so and so, or are they more like on the sidelines?
They've got a few. So there's some mods that can add a lot more of their characters, but they've got the Sisters of Twilight. They've got Durthu's a playable character. Orion, of course, is a playable character. So they've got a good amount, and they went through a rework towards the end of the second game, which thank God. They have Drake as a playable character too, if you would like to play as Wood Elves but really hate Wood Elves. Yeah, she like they're definitely. I would honestly say they're definitely better off still in Total War than they are in like tabletop now, because boy, those models hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they've got a very unique campaign. It's fun.
I was going to say, could Games Workshop use some of the models from Total Warhammer as inspiration to spruce up their miniatures?
They could.
Or they're just kind of generic.
They could, but some of them, it's like if the Dryads aren't in Old World now, they're probably not coming back. So there might be a few they could take some inspiration from. They could bring back the Zotes. That'd be neat. But I don't think there's much they would bring back. But at least in Total War, they are quite fun to play.
Because it was interesting that this was such a highly requested topic. And I'm like, is it a Beastman effect of the fans who really like Wood Elves have been so downtrodden in the last few years and they've got nothing? It's like, they are so zealous. I'm like, can we have Wood Elves? Can we have Wood Elves? Because it's like, they're not getting it from GW.
Yeah. I have a feeling it might be some of that. Especially because even like when they were first introduced in Total War, they did not play how isolationist Wood Elves should. Because before their rework, you were encouraged to build a massive continent-spanning empire, which is not what Wood Elves really do. Because there were certain resources you need that, without them, you couldn't build certain units. In fact, because the roster is split between, the tree people, like the tree spirits, the forest spirits, and the elves, you would pick Orion, and without this resource, you couldn't build trees, or you'd pick Durthu, and without the resource, you couldn't build elves. So it was kind of shit at first. But they did eventually rework the faction to be infinitely less awful. They weren't even awful. It was just like, it didn't make sense how you should be playing. They added new features. They made it a lot less awful. They made it better. So at least in Total War, Wood Elves are a firm recommend. In the Old World, they're a soft recommend. If you like the Wood Elves, you will still like them. With the fair warning of you have no new models. A lot of your models are metal or resin. And a lot of your models didn't come back.
Yeesh. Oh, well. So hopefully we'll get a bit of love for the Wood Elves in the Old World, but we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to see. But if nothing else, they are back, which I can appreciate.
Yeah. And you never know. Maybe we'll get... Do they have any like books or lore? Or are they just kind of on the sidelines again?
They're definitely a lot more of a sideline faction. They've obviously got they're an army, So they've got their Codis lore and stuff like that. Orion has a trilogy.
Oh, nice.
So hey, there's that. There's Guardians of the Forest by Graham McNeil. So that's probably a good book. I admittedly.
All reliable Graham McNeil.
Yeah,
He's done
all
a
reliable.
bajillion books. Sorry, I was just going to say, like, whenever you see Graham McNeil, you're like, this is like the guy you bring in to like inject some life into a faction. Like, they have no lore.
Yeah,
Graham, come on, write us a book. Okay,
it is admittedly, it follows a Bretonian knight, but
okay.
he's an Athel Loren, so a lot of Wood Elves around it. This is again, like I said, it's a Graham McNeil book, so can't be that bad. They don't have that many elves because as much as the elves in Warhammer Fantasy and AOS are definitely treated better than the ones in space, most of that attention goes towards like the high elves and the dark elves, which, to be fair, a lot of the things about the Wood Elves is like their insane, mystical, like Fey nature. If you start writing books and explaining that, it does lose some of that edge.
And to be fair, the most important characters are the trees and the god avatars, I guess you'd call them, of like elder gods. Like although I suppose what's her name from Vermintide has been like, I assume when she was like out, that was like, oh cool, we get like an insight of a POV character. That's kind of interesting. That's a bit of a shot in the arm for the Wood Elves.
Her dialogue gives you some little nuggets of information every now and again, including making fun of Marcus Kruber in his Grail Knight form, both for his shitty accent he's trying to do and pointedly going, "Did you look at the Lady of the Lake's ears when she blessed you, Marcus?"
Oh dear. So even she knows.
Of course, you do then have to accept that for the entire run, you're going to be hearing Lambafoot.
Oh dear. Well, that was good fun. We've now covered the Wood Elves. So that's the Wood Elves, and we've done the High Elves. We haven't done an episode yet on the Dark Elves. Are there any other than like Age of Sigmar? Is there anyone we've missed with the elves now? Other than the Dark Elves?
That's most of the elves. That's the big heavy hitters. There's like a couple like elves that live in human cities and can be found elsewhere, but those are usually offshoots of one of the other elves, so they're not like their own thing.
Yeah. Well, that was good fun. Let us know, folks, what you'd like us to talk about next in Warhammer Fantasy. We have seen a few suggestions. Like I think recently there's been a resurgence of interest in the Chaos Dwarves for some reason, for whatever reason.
I think there might have been a hint, like I read this online in some like tweet or something. So this is like third-hand knowledge I'm getting.
Yeah.
But there was some like hint, maybe some Chaos Dwarfs are coming to a release sometime soon, which would if I see Chaos Dwarfs in the old world, I'm gonna go nuts.
And to be fair, they were added a while ago in Total. I remember when they were added to Total Warhammer 3.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, yes, Chaos Dwarves. I'm like, oh, cool. Chaos Dwarves are a thing. Interesting. So maybe someone else, we'll see. But let us know in the comments what you'd like us to cover next. And until then, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. And we'll see you later, folks. Bye-bye.
Have a good one, everyone.